How do you feel about playing a leading role in a movie?
Man, I'm blessed.
Getting the opportunity to be a part of something better and greater.
It's not that they don't support you. Maybe it's because they can't. 2 weeks ago, I was having emergency surgery, and showing up for my friend was the last thing on my mind. But you never consider that when you ask why they don't show up for you. We all just want someone in our corner to be there during our toughest moments. And as I've learned, that's not always possible. But the most important thing you can do is change how you think about it. The problem isn't that you lack support. It's your expectations of what it actually looks like.
Get it, get it, get it. I pray that you get it, even if I can't get it with you. I pray to God.
All right, welcome to my new storage unit. Just putting some things away. Very long weekend, helping out a friend working on a little project. And reminding myself that you cannot pour from an empty cup. There's so many messages online about people not supporting you, which is really interesting because I ended up having to leave a couple of times this weekend because, I'm a dad. That's my priority. And I can't just spend all my time working on your project. I got to make sure my kid's fed. I got to make sure I can handle my obligations for the weekends. And these are my friends, so they're obviously cool with that. But also, I got this bandage on my face because I was in the hospital a week and a half ago. Ended up staying for a couple of nights. And this project was the last thing on my mind. I didn't even say what was going on. I was just like, okay, cool. But there are people who will expect that because they're your friend, that it means that you owe them something. Or if you don't support them the way they want, you don't like them or they're not your true friend. And I think that that's a pretty toxic message. We're friends, but I can only offer you what I have. I think there are those of us who really want to be great friends, and we feel bad if we can't show up. Like I said, you can't pour from an empty cup. If I don't have the time, I can't give it to you. If I don't have the financial resources, I can't contribute. And if I don't believe in what you're doing, it doesn't mean I don't like you. It just means that's not the cause that I can support. And what's funny is this is something I've actually wanted to talk about for a while, but I didn't think it was relevant. But ironically, it came up while I was out there working on this project. The idea of something as simple as liking or sharing a post. People will send you things, even a meme or something like that, and they don't want to engage with it. Not because they don't like the person or because they don't like even the post, but because they know that engaging with it will affect their algorithm. I thought I was the only one who felt that. If I hit like on this, the algorithm is going to feed me more of it. And I don't want to engage for that reason, if nothing. So it was actually a really fun weekend working on this. Had a lot of people, a lot of locations. It was really well put together. I woke my son up this morning. We were out last night until about 10:30. His bedtime is 8:30. So he was up late, woke up this morning exhausted. And I felt terrible because he was up because he was hanging out with my friends working on a project instead of getting sleep. But I think it's the kind of thing that people who are expecting something from you don't really think about. They're so focused on what they want. I don't think they necessarily think about the sacrifice that you're making to show up for them. Definitely got behind on meal prep, housekeeping. Didn't have enough stuff for lunch today, so I'm gonna run to the farmer's market, grab a couple of things, and be ready for the rest of the week. I'm a little bit off today. People appreciate the support, but they rarely think about the sacrifice that made it possible. And a good friend will never mention it. I just spent 2 days doing unpaid work when I should have been at home studying. What a day. I got an email today about my apprenticeship, and it has been scheduled for Friday. I am terrified. No excuse. Obviously, I signed up for this thing in February, so I'm not trying to make it seem like that, but I thought I would have time. And then when I reached out to them, they told me that when I got contacted for a date, I would have at least a 2 week lead time. Not 4 days. Also, today, I got an email about the job interview I went on. They have offered me the position. They said they were going to hire someone by Friday. I didn't hear from them, so I assumed I didn't get the job, which was, fine. I started working on, setting up this business. And I really just did not want to have to turn them down. Like, if they didn't offer it to me, then it wouldn't affect me if I ever wanted to work for this company in the future. I do think it would be valuable to have some kind of job going into my apprenticeship. I just feel like this one is a little bit demanding. When I applied, I thought it was part-time. But when I got in the interview, they only talked about the full-time, and I just kind of went along with it. If it were for more money, then it would be very tempting. If they reached back out and we could talk about a part-time position, I would feel very comfortable saying absolutely. But 5 days a week, while I have nothing to do, it's great. But if I get a job offer in 2 weeks, then what do I say then? Conflicts. Back to my life. Healing. Making decisions. And about 3 days left to study for the most important test I've taken in a long time. I love being there for my friends. But I'm not so good at asking for help when I need it. And if I'm being honest, I could use some right now. Good morning. Just got an email back from the trade school, and apparently I cannot change my testing date. I never planned on changing my date until I spoke to them previously, and they said, if you feel like you need more time, you can reschedule the test. And I got an email back yesterday that says, if you change your testing date, you will not be eligible for school to start until next year, like spring 2027. If I fail, I have to retake the test in 6 months, which would put me at the same time to retake it for 2027 anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and go for it. We're going to cram. We got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday morning is the test. This is what I always try to avoid. This is why I was talking previously about flexibility and how important flexibility is for me as a dad. All this stuff is happening. I feel like I'll just figure it out. If I have to quit, whatever. If I never actually start, whatever. If I get an entertainment job elsewhere, whatever, like I'll just deal with whatever happens at that time. I went ahead and submitted everything. And ironically, I have to do my drug test today, but the drug test is at the same urgent care I went to before I got my surgery. And that made me feel like, is this the universe telling me to just do it all? It's so funny. So I'm in there taking the test and I'm talking to the guy and I'm like, he's like giving me instructions. He's like, you gotta go in the cup or whatever. And then you wash your hands, and I get in the bathroom and I see all this tape all over the place. And I'm like, oh, that's right. You're not supposed to wash your hands, but he told me to wash my hands. And I go back and I'm like, hey, everything's taped down. Can I wash my hands? And we're talking and he's like, oh yeah, I see a lot of older people coming in these days and they don't know how to take a drug test because they haven't done it in so long. Funny, I'm joking with the guy in the screening place and he's like, yeah, is this a new job for you? And I was like, yeah, but I don't really want to take it. And he's like, my mom used to always say, you do what you got to do until you can do something better. And it's true. It's like, maybe I have something better, but in this exact moment, I don't know. So I just got off the phone with my job for Friday, told them I can't make it, so I'll be able to make my test. I'm overwhelmed, but I don't know, man. I'm just going to lock in. Some of the stuff is starting to feel a little bit easier, but it's just a lot. And it's a lot in a short period of time. Hopefully I can retain it enough to do well. I'm not sure exactly how many questions I have to get right. It's like a 90-minute test, maybe 36 questions or so. Try to get the highest score possible. And if I don't do well, then I'll just plan to take it later on. But I don't know. I feel oddly confident, but I do need to study. I was gonna go to the library, but this is so much better. But also, it is too majestic. I should probably stop people watching and go to a library where I can really study. No one really reaches out to me and asks me about how studying is going. They don't ask me about how fatherhood is going. It does tend to be a lot of like checking up because you need something. But I don't get upset about that. Despite popular belief, your friends aren't going to reach out to you when you make it and then try to pretend they've been there since day one because they genuinely believe that they have been. You have to believe that they're your friends and they support you in whatever your endeavors are. But that is your journey and they have their own. The idea that you feel entitled to them showing up for you whenever and however you want, it's a little bit unfair. Even as a content creator, I don't expect my friends to watch or share my videos. They're not my target audience necessarily. Like maybe they are, maybe your friends are your target audience, but I think that I want genuine support from people who truly engage in what I create and what I talk about. So putting pressure on my friends to show up for me in that way just seems disingenuous. Like if they don't truly resonate with it, then it's going to be hard for them to show up over and over and over again. And yeah, sometimes it's better to have those strangers because they truly feel compelled to support whatever it is you're about at that moment. You shouldn't want people to show up just because they've known you all your life. I think there's too many of us out there who are secretly looking to succeed just to try to prove something to people. But that's not why you started in the first place. There was a time when you genuinely had a message or a product that you wanted the world to discover. And after a few disappointments, you're on a revenge tour with people who don't even know that you're upset with them. That seems like you're just seeking validation. And I don't think that's why you started. You know, when I was in the hospital, I was looking for support. But all I wanted was for someone to hold my hand. I didn't want them to write me a letter or send me flowers or call me. I just wanted someone to hold my hand and tell me that everything is going to be okay. And everyone who offered me support did their best version of that, despite them mostly being unable to. They physically were not there. But I didn't look at that as people didn't support me. They supported me in the only way they could. There were people who I didn't share exactly what was going on with. And because I couldn't get the support that I wanted, I just didn't share. And many of those people got upset with me because they couldn't show up for me the way they wanted to. And it made me realize that support, it looks different. How dare I be upset with someone for doing anything when they could have done nothing? What I hear too often is people who get upset that they don't feel supported and they turn that into anger and they start shutting people out. They start pushing people away. They think they're protecting themselves from all the fake people who didn't show up. And then when they achieve whatever success or reach whatever milestone, it's hollow because they've isolated themselves and there is no one left to share it with. Your friends don't want a piece of your success. They don't want to tell everyone that they knew you when you were starting out. I think they just genuinely want you to succeed, and they know that what you're trying to succeed at is something that they can't offer you any assistance at. All they can do is root for you quietly on the sideline. But I think the real question that you should be asking is, what are you doing to support others? Far too often when people are talking about being upset that no one showed up for them, I'll ask a question like, well, how are you showing up for them? People who genuinely do that, people who genuinely go out of their way to show up for people, I notice don't tend to have that same resentment towards people when they don't show up for them because they understand what that sacrifice looks like. And I think if you spend more time giving, the abundance that you will receive back will be tenfold, and you will never notice the people who don't show up for you because so many more will. Morning. It's 3 o'clock. Today's the day. Test is at 7 a.m. It's like 20 minutes away or so. Gonna try to get there at like 6. Just sit in the car, study for a little bit. But I wanted to make sure I woke up. Actually, I set my alarm for 5, but that's how I know I'm really nervous. When I wake up this early, it means it's really on my mind. But I feel confident. Not like in a I think I'm gonna kill it kind of way. I just think I feel confident because I'm like, I don't know, man, universe got me. I don't know. It's just a lot of things have come to a head this week. I'm supposed to do a concert actually today, but I had to cancel the concert because of the test this morning. I don't know when the job starts. They haven't sent me like a start date or whatever, but I'm like filling out the paperwork and everything for it. So maybe it's Monday. I don't know. I already know there's going to be conflicts that are going to come up because if I get this apprenticeship, it's going to be 5 days a week. So there's no way I can also do that job. So it's like, maybe I do that job until I can start my apprenticeship. And then I tell them, hey, can I do part-time? I don't know. A lot of things, a lot of conflict. And basically me just saying, you know what? I'll deal with it all when it's time. It was nice to call home and tell my mom that all these things are happening because she's like always wondering what's next. And, you know, that feeling of wanting your parents' approval never really goes away. Like at a certain point, you just like, whatever, I'm doing what I want to do. But I don't think there's ever been a part of me that was never like, I don't want to make my parents proud. She was happy to hear that I was doing regular adult people things instead of being an irresponsible creative. But, you know, we all want the best for our kids, so I can't blame her.
This case is a 5. We multiply those together and we get 30. And what I'm trying to do is...
It's not that I feel ready.
Two numbers that multiply
it's that
30, but
I don't really have a choice.
17, so the number in the middle.
It's all going to be over in a few hours, so... I mean, how hard can this test possibly be? Information overload. Test is in 45 minutes and there's no cars here except for that one. So, I don't know. I figured other people would be in my situation, at least show up 30 minutes early. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. 6/8/26, 6/8/26. Wait. My test is not today.
I've been running in circles, hit 10,000 miles of pavement, trying to make it all make sense. I've been underslept, overworked, overstretched, I'm exhausted, but I got you.
The problem is not that your friends don't support you. It's your expectations of what that support is going to look like. It's something that has always been so glaring in my life, but it's become so much more apparent lately. Some people support you with constructive criticism. Others just want what they think is best for you. In their mind, they are absolutely giving you support. But in your mind, it's not what you need. It's not what you want. And therefore, your expectations do not meet the reality of what support is going to look like. And I'm thinking more often than not, that's what the issue actually is. Once I realized today was not actually my test, I hopped in the car, sped off to the venue, and I made it just in time. So it kind of worked out. Knowing I have 30 extra days, I'm actually very confident that I can do a pretty good job on this test now. Now, with that said, I totally blew it. The text message came through. I was feeling overwhelmed. The month had just changed, and I assumed for some reason that 6/8/26 was actually the month we were currently in. I was wrong. Test is in June, so that's that's my fault, you know? But this was how I experienced it. I felt panic the entire week for no real reason. But that just goes to show that the pressure that I was experiencing was all fabricated by me. It was in my head. It was not something that anyone else was experiencing. It was all internal. No one else is going to be a part of your journey. You have to go through things on your own. And while we desire support and we want people to show up for us, at the end of the day, it's on you. And that's one of the things I've realized through all this. Many of us are carrying resentment because we feel like people are failing us, when in reality, we're overwhelmed, we're stressed, and we are the ones who are crafting this narrative that they aren't doing enough. Between this concert and this job and the tests and the future, I am clearly a little bit overwhelmed. But it's so important that in those moments you take a step back and realize it's just you. Sometimes the pressure that we feel is very real, but I'm realizing that perhaps the story that we're telling ourselves isn't. We start convincing ourselves that no one cares, no one's showing up, but maybe they are in the best way that they know how. Maybe their version of support is offering wisdom or advice or a phone call, or taking a step back and allowing you to figure things out on your own. We interpret them doing the best that they can as not being there for us. We act like our friends and family have failed us, but the truth is they're probably dealing with their own lives. The biggest takeaway from me this week is definitely put a hold on the revenge tour. Stop asking, why aren't people showing up for me? And instead, start appreciating the people who do, even if it doesn't look the way I imagined it would.